So this is the next piece that I am going to make over. This piece is huge. It is heavy. It's kind of a little bit of a monster. It's chunky. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I was stumped. And so I let it go the way it was. And also it had missing hardware. And that was going to be something I was going to have to figure out because it's a little bit of an older piece and I knew I wasn't going to find hardware to quite fit here or go with it. So I did start by taking off the hardware, but I think for this piece we're not going to go too crazy because it's big and I don't think it needs too much. So we're going to start off with a paint color, and I chose this pale kind of green. You can find we have different greens from Debbie's Design Diary paint on the website. This is like more of an olive. I know it doesn't look that way here because of the lighting, but it's more of an olive green and it's super pretty. So I'm gonna do 2 coats of this green over the whole thing. Okay, next thing is we're going to grab some white. You can grab any shade of white that you want. I grabbed what was open, and that's just how I go. I just try to use the paints that are opened, and so to not be wasteful. So with the white, I am just going to go paint inside the square blocks, and I'm going to do this haphazardly. I'm not looking for a neat look. I'm not looking to go from one end of the inside to the other. I just wanted a little bit kind of natural. And also I am going to do the middle of the drawers on the bottom because besides drawers, this big heavy thing also has drawers. Now for the top part where I painted it white, I am going to use some Iron Orchid Design stamps and ink, and that's what I'm going to put in all of these squares. I'm not going to fill all of them, but some of them, and this just gives it a little extra because this is, to me, a little bit more on the plain side where I use a lot of color and transfers and things like that. This one is basically a little bit basic for me, but I like it. I like the way this came out, and I think this is the perfect look for this piece. So all we have to do is find a stamp that we like. I chose something that is floral, and there's all different kinds. There's script, which I am going to use one with script on the bottom and even on the top a little bit. But for now, I'm going to start with this floral one. What I do is I get the ink into the ink pad, kind of switch that around a little bit, and then instead of using a brayer, which you could use a brayer on the ink pad and then roll it onto the stamp, I am just going to kind of pat the stamp onto the ink pad and then just place it where I want it to go. The one thing to remember about using stamps is that you have to be careful. Once you put it where you want it, you're kind of sort of committed to that spot, because if you move, it gets like blurry and smudgy. Smudgy is the word. It smudges. So you want to make sure you get it, place it where you want it, and then just pat it down a little bit and pull up. Now it's time to do the drawers, and the drawers I use the script stamp from Iron Orchid Design. This one's called With Kindness Regard, and I did use some of these, the same stamp up at the top, just to interchange it with the flower one. Next, I grabbed the sand sponger, and I'm just going to gently sand the areas which could bring out the piece by exposing a little bit of the wood underneath and taking the paint off a little bit. It's a soft sanding. I'm not being abrasive because I don't want to take a lot of the paint off. This is not the look I'm going for. So just nice and gentle, and it does make a difference, believe it or not, even though it's nice and soft. Okay, so we're nearing the end. So I'm gonna take the hardware that's on the drawers, and I'm just gonna like put white paint on it. I'm putting white paint on it. After the white paint, I'm gonna put on the gray, and wait for the white to dry, put on the gray, just kind of dab it on there just to kind of match the whole thing, because the brassiness, because they're brass, didn't quite match. So now it's more cohesive, I think. Okay, so now I'm going to seal this piece, and this kind of color looks really good with dark wax, but I wasn't sure that I wanted to use dark wax, and then I thought maybe white, and then I just started off with clear. The great thing is if I do clear wax first and then I add another color like white here, it's okay because I can wipe it back and it's not so white or it's not so dark. So I did use all three, white, clear, and dark wax, and I think that it worked. You can mix wax just like you would mix paint colors. So the white gave it a little bit of a huey look, then it went into the nooks and crannies, which gave it a special look, and then the dark wax was to accent. That's what I use the dark wax for. And the clear wax was for where I just wanted to leave it just the way it was. Okay, so now to take care of the hardware at the top. So I'm going to keep the brass plates that were behind the brass knob on this piece, and I have these wooden knobs that are green, and I'm just going to paint those. And I'm going to use the same colors that I've been using on the other pulls on the drawers on the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to paint it in the gray color, and then when that dries, I'm going to put the white on top, and I'm going to do the same thing for the knobs, and then I'm just going to put it in and hope that it works.